Shalom Aleichem. Mishnah Yomi continues for Erev Shabbat Vayera. We were in Yevamot, chapter 3, Mishnah Zayin. Shlosha Achim, 3 brothers. Shnayim mehen nesuyin shtei hayot. 2 of them are married to 2 sisters. Echad nesui nochit, and 1 is married to a completely unrelated woman. And then met echad mibale ahayot. 1 of the husbands of the sisters passes away. So now this sister cannot marry in Yibum the man who's married to her sister, but she can marry in Yibum the one who's married to an unrelated woman. V'kanos nasui nochrit et ishto. And that's exactly what happens. The man who is married to the unrelated woman, the woman who's not related to anybody else, he marries in Yibum the sister of his deceased brother. Umeta ishto shel sheni, and then after this occurs, the wife now, who was also the sister of the widow who was married in Yibum, she passes away. So, for example, if Rachel and Leah were the sisters who were also the wives to the 2 brothers, and Rachel, her husband died first, and then Rachel was married in Yibum, and then Leah passed away. V'achar kach, the Mishnah continues, then after this, meit nasui nochrit, the brother who had originally been married only to the unrelated wife, he passes away, again without children, so now there's a potential Yibum situation. However, when this occurs, he's married to Sally, the nochrit, the unrelated woman, and he's related to Rachel, who was originally the wife of his brother, the one who passed away first. So both of these widows are now falling to Yibum in front of the 3rd brother, the brother who used to be married to Leah, but then Leah passed away. So what happens? Hareze asura alav. So Rachel is forbidden to him, olamit, forever. Hoel v'nesra alav shat achat, because she was forbidden to do Yibum with him at one point. So the surviving brother here, brother number 3, who used to be married to Leah, but Leah passed away, he cannot marry Rachel in Yibum, because when Rachel originally was widowed the first time, Leah was still alive. So she was the sister of his wife and was forbidden to marry in Yibum. So too, even though Leah has Nebuch passed away, when this second Yibum situation arises, he still cannot marry her in Yibum. Now the Mishnah brings a variation of this case. Shlosha achim, shnayim mehem nesuyin shtei hayot. 3 brothers, 2 are married to 2 sisters. Achad nesui nochrit, the other one's married to Sally. Gerish echad mibale hayot et ishto. And one of the men who's married to Rachel or Leah divorces Rachel. This is before anyone dies. Umet nesui nochrit. And then the brother married to Sally, he dies without children. Uchnasa hamegarish. And the brother who had divorced Rachel, he then marries in Yibum Sally. Vamet. And then later he passes away with no children. Zohi she'amru. In this case, this is the one where they said, Kulan shemetu onit garshu, in any of these women where they died or were divorced before the Yibum situation came up, tsarotehen mutarot. Their koef is mutar. Now this, they said, refers back to the very first Mishnah in Yevamot. We were talking about the co-wives of an erva being, totally exempt from a Yibum situation. So let's go on to Mishnah Het, Mishnah 8, v'chulan. In all of these cases, any number of brothers, shehayu behen kiddushin ogerishin besufik, where there was a kiddushin, again, that's the first stage of marriage, such as giving a ring. It could also be done through a document explaining that they are now married. We're going to get to this in detail in Masechet Kiddushin. O gerishin besufik, or the divorce was doubtful. So what do they do if we're not really sure that the brother was married? We're not sure that they became divorced. Hare elu tsarot holtzot v'lomet yevamot. So the co-wife, if any, has to get chalitza before she marries someone else, but cannot be married by their surviving brother in Yibum, because the marriage to the erva, the wife, the other co-wife with a family relationship, a pre-existing relationship, such as a mother-in-law, a former daughter-in-law, etc., we're not sure if they were really married or not. There's a suffix. We're going to see what this means, if that marriage was valid. Keitzod suffix kiddushin. What is an example of a doubtful kiddushin? Zorak la kiddushin. The young man threw her the ring, or threw her the money, or the document, And Safek Karov Lo, we're not sure if it landed closer to him, Safek Karov Lo, or closer to her. Zehu Safek Kiddushin. We're going to explain when we get to Masechet Kiddushin, if we know for sure that it landed closer to one of them, if it landed closer to the man, then it never got to her. If it landed closer to her, then now it did get to her, and she's considered married. Safek Gerushin, what is the example of a doubtful divorce, where we're not sure the divorce went through? Katav biktav yado. The husband wrote the divorce document, the get, in his own handwriting. Ve'ein olav edim. But there are no witnesses attesting to the get. We're going to see in Masechet Gittin that witnesses are considered a very critical part of the get, but on a biblical level, it might be good enough to have the handwriting, confirmed handwriting of the husband, the former husband. Or another case, Yeshol of Edim, ve'ein bozman. It does have two witnesses, has the Edim, but it doesn't have a date. And the sages decreed you have to have a date. You have to date the divorce document for it to be valid rabbinically. However, biblically, it could still go through without a date. Or a third possibility, Yesh bozman, it has a date, ein bo ela eid echad, but it only has one witness. And in Masechet Gittin, we're going to see that maybe you could combine one witness's signature and confirm the handwriting of the sofer, of the scribe who actually drafted the document. Maybe that's good enough. Zehu Safek Gerushin. This is a case of doubtful divorce. Now, it's interesting, all of these cases, really theoretically, on a b'diavad, after-the-fact level, these should be valid divorce documents on a biblical level, but because the sages decreed that really you need to have two witnesses, you need to have a date, you can't rely on these very flimsy documents to effect a divorce. So therefore, nobody uses these documents, and everybody thinks that they're completely invalid. So if one of the brothers, say the brother who was married to the sister of the widow who was falling to Yibam, if he used such a document, even though biblically it might be valid because the rabbi said you can never use such a document to effect a divorce, everyone's going to think that they weren't really divorced. So it's not like a suffix, a doubt in the conditions. It's a doubt because the halacha, the Jewish law, creates an uncertainty in people's minds if this was a valid divorce or not. Certainly in a case where we'll see in Gittin, where the man threw the divorce document, threw the get to the wife, and there's a suffix, they're in the public domain, and it's a suffix, it's a doubt who it landed closer, that's also a doubtful divorce. But the cases that the Mishnah brings right now, the doubt is created by the halacha, by the Jewish law, not by the facts on the ground. It's a reminder that the Jewish people don't live in simply a physical world. It's a physical world we live in, but we're guided through it by halachic principles, by spiritual principles. Yashar koach and Shabbat Shalom.